Hey folks, this is the OJ All Access podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I am Alex Bashevansky. Hope everyone is having a fantastic week so far. Did you get to check out the Battle of Ontario that went down in Smiths Falls recently? Definitely a tremendous showcase for the OJ and the CCHL. And we are going to talk a bit about that on what should be a great show today. We've got a few different guests coming on. The Trenton Golden Hawks have been killing it so far this season. They're currently leading the Eastern Conference. Head coach, general manager Derek Smith will be joining me along with star forward Taeo Artichuk to talk about their years so far. Also, OJHL feature writer Ron Vanlentine, who's the authority on pretty much everything in this league. Don't ever try to test his memory when it comes to the OJ. I've learned that the hard way. Ron will join me to talk about some of the latest OJHL news. But first, I'm joined by the head coach and general manager of the Trenton Golden Hawks, Derek Smith, and a high-scoring Hawks forward, Taeo Artichuk. Guys, thanks for taking the time. How are things going?
Thanks for having us, Alex. Yeah, things are going well in Trenton. It's been a fun start to the year, but lots of hockey left.
Yeah, I mean, clearly things are going well in terms of on the ice for you guys. Leading the East with 43 points right now. Just ranked second overall in all of Canada in the latest CJHL rankings. 10-game winning streak. Yeah, so it goes without saying. Great on the ice. Great campaign up to this point. Taeo, how happy have you been with the way the team's performed so far?
Yeah, I mean, I can't be happier. We definitely come together as a team and play our hardest every night.
Derek, I guess you would echo that as well, that it's been pretty successful so far for you guys?
Yeah, it's always the start of the year is always an adjustment period. A lot of new faces. I think to start the year, we had 14 first-year players on the team, and it takes a while to build the team chemistry and really have the team identity and culture. But our leaders have done a great job of establishing that. The guys want to get better every day. They work hard, and it's starting to pay off. Obviously, as you mentioned, a 10-game winning streak it doesn't happen very often in this league, but we have a lot of hockey left. There's a lot of good teams in our league, and all we can really focus on is just getting better every single day, and hopefully we're the team at the end of the year that wins the last game.
Well, last year in your first season as head coach, you guys had a great year. You made it all the way to the Buckland Cup final. I know it's a sore spot. It's been 2 seasons in a row now for Trenton that you've made it to the Buckland and come up just a little bit short. But looking at this year's team and last year's team, what are some of the differences between the two squads, would you say, Derek?
I guess a big thing right now is our youth. Last year we had great veteran leadership in Adam O'Marin, Lucas Lapalme, and Barrett Joint. And this year, our leaders have stepped in a good job with Taeo, Corbin Roach, David Fournier. They're great players and great people, but for the most part of the season, we've dressed 4 defensemen every game under the age of 18, and our team success has been as a full team this year. But there's a lot of young guys that are playing very important minutes for us, and it's been fun to see their growth from August to September and now the middle of November. And we're hoping that the curve just keeps going up and the ceiling gets pushed higher. And when playoffs come, then we're going to be a completely different team than we are right now as well.
Taeo is a big reason for that success, obviously, and you brought him in last year from the Erie Otters. He paid off immediately. Fantastic year last year, this year as well. Tell us about him and what he's brought to this team.
He brings excitement, a lot of energy. Obviously his skill set is pretty high end for this league. But one thing that, Taeo is starting to get back in his game, after a couple months last year was just getting the confidence back. A lot of players that go up to the OHL, if it doesn't work out for them, sometimes it's a little tough. And in the transition back to Tier 2 is hard. But Taeo's stuck with it. He works hard. And he's really put his mind and everything into it. He wants to be a hockey player, and he's been a big player for us last year on the playoff drive. And obviously this year, I think, what is he, top 3 or 4 in scoring in the league, and plays in all situations, kills penalties, plays in the power play. Depth is everything in junior hockey and every level, but without your best players being your best players every night, it's hard to win.
You're currently on a 5-game point streak, your second 5-gamer of the year, actually. 6th in the league, actually, with 40 points right now. So, Taeo, for those who haven't seen you play, what do you pride yourself on doing? Like, when you step on the ice every time, what are the Golden Hawks or any team getting in a player from Taeo Artichuk?
I honestly would say I'm a pretty small guy, and I like to portray myself on the ice as a big player. And I definitely like battling in the corners and being in the right spots. And I honestly wouldn't be in this position without my line mates, really, from David Fournier and Soulier. So I'm definitely lucky to play with those guys.
You guys are all ripping it up too. Yeah, talk about playing with those guys because they're all up there in point production. You guys have just been ripping it up together, haven't you, this year?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm very fortunate to be playing on the line with those two guys. They just read. We all read each other the right way and just know where each other are all around the ice.
We'll get back to the OJ in a sec, guys, but I wanted to mention you both just took part in the Battle of Ontario in Smiths Falls, the CCHL versus OJHL All-Star event. Taeo, you as a player, Derek, you as a coach. Whoever wants to comment on this, but what was the event like, guys? Obviously, a lot of talent in one place, really attracting a lot of scouts out there.
Yeah, it's a cool experience. Obviously, it's a little different from the players or the coaching staff, but for me and Ryan Ramsey that did together, it's good to build some new relationships with some new players and be part of something special. Anytime our league gets to go against another league and showcase our players, it's a win for the OJHL. Get to coach some of the best. We had 20 guys on our team, 20 best players in the league. It's a cool experience, and obviously for guys like Taeo, the rest of the guys that are from the Hawks and from the OJHL to be able to win was pretty special.
Taeo, what was it like for you?
I mean, yeah, it was a really good experience. I mean, the first day was pretty awkward. Not a lot of guys knew each other. It was a pretty quiet room. But by the last day, we were all laughing and getting along and pretty excited that we won and beat the CC.
I was going to ask, what's that like at first? Because, yeah, you mentioned a little awkward at first. You guys are rivals. You're coming from all these different teams where you're used to trying to kill each other on the ice. And then all of a sudden you're matched up together as teammates on this all-star team. Is there a little tension at first?
Yeah, it's pretty funny because some of the guys you might have been chirping against in the game or battling pretty hard against, and then he might be your line mate at this thing. So it's a pretty funny experience, but it's a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. Another huge event coming up in December, the World Junior A Challenge in Camrose, Alberta. You were both there last year as well. Taeo was a player, Derek, assistant coach with Team Canada East. Taeo hoping to be invited back again to the Team Canada East training camp this year. Let's start with you, Taeo. What was that experience like for you last year going up against some of the top Junior A talent on the planet?
I mean, the opportunity to play for my country was amazing. It was an unbelievable experience that I'll be grateful for and forever remember. But it still bothers me that we didn't bring home the gold medal, but it was really fun.
What happened in the final? Because you beat Team Canada West in the preliminary round, didn't you? Just one of those things.
Yeah, we just walked into the game a bit maybe too confident. I'm not sure. They potted one pretty early on us, and it kind of deflated us a bit.
Yeah, but it was great to make it to the final. Obviously, great representation for the OJHL. Derek, you were an assistant coach. You got to see Taeo have a fantastic tournament, 5 points in 6 games he had, leading you guys to that championship game. What was the experience like for you, Derek? And from an OJHL experience, must have been pretty cool too. Great representation by the league, being made up with 13 OJHL players.
Yeah, as a former player, not being able to put the Canada jersey on, obviously it was something that I was striving for, but now to be part of it last year and the season before as a coach is pretty special. Not very often do hockey players get a chance to represent their country, and for Taeo and the rest of the guys last year, it is a pretty special thing for them and their family, and to be part of it and help these kids try to reach their goals. And it's a cool experience. As for the OJ, a lot of really good talent on the team last year, a lot of guys that came together pretty quickly, Trevor Hoskins, Andy Reese, and we mentioned Taeo and Ben Pickle, a couple players from Collingwood that have had some success in the league play the last couple of years. And it was really, really fun to see the guys from the OJ have success at the tournament individually and as a team. I think our league has done a really good job the last couple of years of putting guys in the tournament because our league is so big, but also a lot of good hockey players are from Ontario. And I think things are probably going to be the same again this year for the team. There's a lot of good players from all over the country, but Ontario is a hotbed, and the OJ does a very good job of developing their players. So looking forward to see the team this year and see how they compete.
Guys, a couple questions before I let you go. I wanted to get both your perspectives on the new NCAA agreement with allowing major junior hockey players in. Let's start with you, Taeo. Like we've discussed this a lot over the last couple of weeks. It's interesting for you because you do have OHL experience, significant experience playing with the Erie Otters before. That NCAA route would have been closed off to you, but now with this new rule coming into place starting on August 1st, you could possibly take that path. So what's your thought on this? And have you started talking to any schools possibly to take that jump?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see like how junior players' career paths change in junior hockey a bit. But it's definitely good and opens up opportunity for players like myself who maybe played a few years in the O but couldn't last. And it gives us that extra motivation that there's still a chance to go pro with the sport and go and do school and play as well. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I've had like a few looks, but nothing crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting in the future to see how where this role takes me.
Well, we saw Colton Smith become the first player to do that right from the OJ last week, which bodes well for you. So good luck with that. And Derek, I want to get your comment on that, what you think about it and how you think it's going to affect recruiting in Trenton and just the league in general.
It's obviously going to be a transition. We don't know exactly how the rules are going to change the landscape, but just looking on the outside now, I think it's good for hockey in general. For the guys that are stuck in the middle now, maybe the 04, 5s, and 6s, things are going to be a little tough, but I think we're going to look back in quite a few years and say this is something that probably should have happened all along. Yeah. It's just going to continue to let players develop. And it is tough for 15, 16-year-old kids to have to choose what path they want to go to. So in the grand scheme of things, I like it. As far as how it's going to affect the OJHL, there's been such a war between NCAA and the CHL the last couple of years. And a lot of players are being rushed to the OHL probably before they're ready. I think now what we're going to see is maybe some younger, higher-end players that typically might be on an OHL roster at the beginning of the year are now going to be placed in the OJHL for further development, which I think in the grand scheme of things is going to make the OHL the OJHL a better league. It's going to be a more skilled league, and we'll see some higher-end talent. Obviously, it's going to be tough maybe to manage some rosters with guys going up and down all the time, but the NHL and the AHL does it all the time with guys going up and down, and we're going to have to probably change our approach of what our team looks like. But I mean, we're all in this for the same reason. It's to give these kids an opportunity to develop and play. And I'm sure once everything gets set with regulations and rules, we're gonna have a better idea of what it looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch. One more question before I let you guys go. It's hard to believe it's been 2017 the last time that Trenton won a title. That was the Dudley Hewitt Cup. 2016 since the Buckle Cup. Tails laughing here. But Trenton is, it's a small town, and the team is so invested in its hockey club. So after coming close the last couple seasons and always having a really good team, but I can't believe it's been that long. Are you guys hearing it? Do the fans get a little antsy in town since it's been so long since you guys have won a title?
They're passionate. We're pretty fortunate. Our fans show up in numbers. We have great fan support. The guys did the Santa Claus parade on Sunday, and everybody knows who the Trenton Golden Hawks are. So it's a pretty fun place to play for these kids. It's special. Yes, it's been a while. We're hoping our goal, just like everybody else, but especially ours this year, is to be the final one standing at the end of the year. And it's already November, but it's still only November. There's a lot of hockey left, a lot of development to go. But we're on the right path right now.
It should be pointed out that it's a long time for the Trenton Golden Hawks because there's been such a tradition of success there. An embarrassment of riches, really. It's been such a successful program. Taeo, you were chuckling, so I'll let you have the last word on that. What's it like as a player in Trenton, and how have you found it from the fans, the response from the fans?
I mean, our fan support is unbelievable. There's like one section in our rink that's just nuts. Like, it's loud there. It's
I filmed there a few times. I remember it. Yeah.
Section 7. Yeah, we definitely want to win for our fans. They they're so good to us, and they support us so much. And even through our playoffs journey last year, the whole place was rocking every night in the playoffs. So we definitely owe it to our fans to win it back.
Well, you guys are on track this season. It's been great so far. You're looking great. Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to come on today and keep up the great work.
Thanks, you.
Alex.
That still blows my mind that the Hawks haven't won a Buckland Cup since 2016. But with all the great teams they've had, it just shows how competitive this league has become. Okay, a little bit of league news to cover before Ron comes on. The latest CJHL rankings came out on Monday. Trenton is, as mentioned, all the way up to number 2 now. Leamington still in the top 5 at number 4. Collingwood sits in the 10th spot, and the JRCs are at number 14. So 4 OJHL teams currently in the nation's top 20. Some hot players around the league at the moment. David Elmy of St. Mike's has been unreal. In the past 5 games, he has racked up 16 points, 10 goals, 6 assists, and he shot up to second behind Colton Smith in the scoring race. Parker Forlin of the Niagara Falls Canucks recently came off an 8-game point streak where he had 8 goals and 10 assists for 18 points. He is now 3rd in league scoring. Ryan Schaap of Wellington also recently had an 8-gamer going. He's been huge for the Dukes, racking up 6 goals, 11 assists over that time. And Ethan Walker of the Lindsay Muskies went on an 8-game heater himself. Ethan put up 8 goals and 9 assists for 17 points for a Lindsay squad that's been super competitive this season. And joining me now to talk about all kinds of league news is OJHL feature writer Ron Vanlentine. Ron, how are things going?
They're going very well, Alex. We're in the banana belt here. There's no snow. My daughter just told me she's on her way to Thunder Bay and fighting the snow up there. So I guess we're happy to be down here and warm and sunny and eating good.
Doing good. You know, the COVID Christmas, I remember I was actually golfing up until Christmas Eve when they shut the golf courses down. And that was one of the mildest winters I can remember.
Yeah.
But no, that's great, man. Things are going good for you. Fantastic. We got a lot to talk about. You've got a lot on your mind. And I was laughing because when I asked Ron to come on the show, everybody, and I said, you know, what sort of topics do you think we should cover? And I checked in the morning, and there was a message from him listing about 20 different things. So always a lot on his mind. We're going to get to a few of it today anyway. Let's start off with, the first thing you mentioned was you really want to talk about Colton Smith of Leamington, how he's impressed you so far. He's chasing 50 goals and 100 points this season.
I got a chance to see Colton when the Flyers came down to Burlington, and that game ended up in a 3-3 tie. But it was when Smith is on the ice, he's just got that presence. He reads the game well. He's a big guy. He skates well. His teammates are always looking for him, and I'm not surprised to see where he is. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep the pace up. He's on pace, as you say, for 50 goals and 100 points, and that's not easy now. It used to be way back. Adam Oates got 159 points, and you're never going to see anything like that anymore in the OJ, but it's quite a feat if somebody gets that 100-point mark. A couple of seasons ago, Tyler Fukukusa, of course, from the Canadians, he got to 105 points. And it's not easy. You can't afford a couple of games where you don't hit the score sheet. But by the way things are going for Colton now, I think he looks good for that, for sure.
I think he was the first. He was the first since Petrucci did it back in like 2018 or something like that. So not an easy thing at all. Yeah. And recently, also trailblazing. I just did an OJ reel on this actually about Smith signing with Clarkson University, the first OJHL player with major junior experience to do that, and definitely will not be the last run.
No, I think it may start a little bit slowly, but I think you'll see more and more now, more and more people doing that, more and more players doing that, because, you look back at that rule and you say, this was kind of an archaic rule to begin with. They're not professional hockey players because they play in the OHL. And now it's given them that opportunity too. And the other way, players that are going to come down to our league too, as our players move up. So hopefully it'll be a plus for both leagues. We'll have to see how the whole thing unravels, but right now it's good for the players, no question about that.
And some of those guys who are going to be taking that path most likely now of maybe OJ, then CHL, then NCAA. I know you wanted to talk about the rookie scoring this season, which is just some really high-end talent. Of course, Ryder Calley's the first one that comes to mind, but there's some fantastic younger players in the league this year, really impactful. Let's just talk about that rookie scoring race and what you've seen so far, Ron.
You know, there's league rookies and there's true, what I call true rookies. Rookies like, for instance, players are born in 08, and there's a couple of you mentioned Ryder Calley in a class by himself, the Milton Menace for sure. But there's also a defenseman in Georgetown, Andrew Robinson. He's also an 08. He already has a commitment to Providence, and he is going to be, he's right up there right now. He's just a young guy. Georgetown is on a roll, as you know. They've really improved recently, and you can go down the line. Noah Garth from Burlington, he's an 05. Matthew Soulier from Trenton, an 06. There's two Simon Wangs in the league. One from Lindsay is 07. He's way up there in the scoring. Mason Kim from Mississauga, Brody Cook. Joe Sinclair from Burlington. You go down the list there, and it's Tate Collins from the Patriots. I mean, there are so many, and they've all got way 20 points or above. And it didn't used to be like that. You used to have to go way down the scoring charts to find any rookies. Now they're really blossoming, and it's great to see those guys.
And Kapagiridis, who's a rookie, he had a cup of coffee last year, but he's technically a rookie. To do what he's been doing as a defenseman this season has been mind-blowing stuff as well. Interesting this past week, because as we continue to talk just a little bit about, pardon me, the new NCAA ruling, we love seeing players move on to the next level. At the same time, it could be a double-edged sword as we get sort of further on into this new agreement. In regards to some, really good OJHL players, we saw it this past week. Graham McCauley and Alexander Stephen both going up to, I keep wanting to say the Mississauga Steelheads, I'm a Mississauga guy, but the Brampton Steelheads now jumping up. Now they are back. They could be up and down this season, but that's something that you wouldn't have seen the case of before. They would have just avoided playing in the CHL altogether. So as much as we love to see the player advancement, two key players on their OJHL teams. So yeah, like your thoughts on that, Ron. Great for the kids, but tough for those teams too if they lose those players for a significant amount of time.
It's tough for the team. It's also a little bit tough for the fans too. I know Stephen and Macaulay are two very popular players on their teams, and I don't think the fans mind them going up to be called up as APs for the games, and I'm sure they did very well. I didn't see or hear anything about it yet. But if they lose them even this season, then the fans are going to be really happy about that. But it is great for the players, and the fact that they can go and do that now and come back and still. And I know those two guys, they just fit in. It's not going to go to their heads that they've played a game in the OHL for sure. Yeah,
let's talk about some hot teams right now. I just covered Trenton. With Derek and Taeo on a 10-game heater at the moment. They've been doing awesome. But the JRC is another team really starting to make some noise right now, Ron.
Alex, we seem to talk about the Trenton Golden Hawks for years, as you've been doing this for years, as have I. And it's really a tribute to that team, really, when you see what they're able to do. And with the junior Canadians, they've had 15 out of a possible 16 points in the month of November. They are really hot now. They have had an injury to their goalkeeper, but they did pick up today a guy who played for this junior for the Sioux Greyhounds, Julian Fantino. He's in his last year. It's an 04. He's going to help them up front too. They did lose Luke Johnson, as you know, their captain, but they did get back Gabriel Cirillo from Newmarket. And that team, I don't like to say overperforming, but they are really moving right now. And, the coach has got them really going in the right direction. When Tyler Fukakusa and all the big boys were there 2 years ago, we had a little bit of a drop off last year, but they are really coming back. And David DeMarinis has got them has got them all facing the same way. I'll be interested to see if he appoints a new captain now that Johnston's gone, but we'll wait and see on that one.
They've been one of the top producers of talent over the last 5 seasons or so, the JRCs, no question about it. You wanted to point out the insane goal differential of the top 3 teams in the league at the moment, Trenton, Leamington, and Collingwood.
That's what wins games. There's no question about it. You look at Leamington, how they are so stingy on the back end. And there's a guy from, as everybody knows, from Collingwood, Noah Tegala, who's come in and just people are now almost saying, Noah Pack, do you remember him or not? But Noah was a great goalie. Now here's another Noah. He's got 5 shutouts already. And he's only played 15 or so games with them.
Crazy.
But that's what's separating these 3 teams right now. Is when you look at the goal differential, they can score goals, but try and get one back on them. That's the question.
That's the big thing. Yeah. Now Noah was the NOJHL Rookie of the Year last year with Blind River, and of course on the NHL watch list for next year's draft as well. So yeah, great season there. One team that's got to get it going pretty soon, Ron, that you wanted to talk about, King Rebellion. Ton of talent there. And, of course, as mentioned, they have Simon Wang, who might be the first player from the OJ taken in the NHL draft this season, pegged as high as a second-rounder. Yeah. But they're going to be in a struggle to make the playoffs down the stretch. They really got to get things going, don't they, Ron?
At the moment, they're 7 points behind the Buffalo Sabres, who are currently in 8th spot in the West. They've played 28 games, so they're halfway through the season. And you think, boy, they're going to start making moves. Mark Jocelyn is a smart guy. They've made a lot of roster changes. It may still have been a little bit of an upheaval for them. And they just added, of course, Jacob Zhu from Trenton, as well as Dalton Kane. So there's 2 more acquisitions. Plus, they've got, I believe, the maximum 9 players who were 04s. The talent seems to be there. I think it's just a matter of getting it all together. But after 56 games, we might be looking at something completely different. Let's say I wouldn't bet against the Rebellion at this point.
Yeah. One team that has impressed you a lot are the Pickering Panthers. They, nice bounce back season. They missed the playoffs last year. They are in a fight for a playoff spot, no question about it, with Kohlberg and Lindsay. The Panthers are 7th, I believe, but it's going to be tight, no question about it. But they've really upped the game this year, haven't they? And they've looked good so far.
For sure. As we're talking now, Alex, Pickering and Lindsay are tied with 26 points for 7th for the final playoff spot.
Right.
Kohlberg's got 24. They lost last night to Halliburton. But really, those 3 are extremely close. And I talk to the captains each season for the OJ website, and I talked to Quinn Binney early in the season. And, captains are always very positive. They always look at all the pluses that could happen. And you kind of say, oh, yeah, well, they've got to be positive. It's the start of the season. But he said this team is, and we talked early on when they were not doing well. And he said, this team, believe me, is going to be, you're going to see a difference in this team over the next month or so. And that's actually what's come to pass. And they are forced to be right with Pickering now and right, as you say, right in the middle of the playoff race.
Like Babe Ruth calling a shot. He made the prediction and he was right. But overall, before I let you go, Ron, just, we do love to see just how competitive it is in both conferences this year. And parity. But I feel like the past few seasons, anytime I've interviewed a coach, they've mentioned the parity in this league over the past few years. But it feels especially that way up to this point this year. Yeah, there's a couple of bottom feeders who are out of it, but night to night throughout the league, you never really know. Like case in point, listen, Mississauga taking down Halliburton County early in the season, right? So you never know, do you? The parity's been unreal this year.
It's been unreal, and I think in a lot of ways, Alex, you've got to look at the winning percentage rather than the points sometimes, because you've got a team like Oakville who's only played 23 games. Now they've only got 19 points, but if they can win a few of those games that they've got in hand, then they're going to be in that playoff mix in the West as well. it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for King as well to get back there. But overall, as you said, and it's a kind of a trite saying, isn't it, that the coach says, well, anybody can beat anybody in a particular night. But they certainly can. Look at North York in the last couple of games now. They are almost certainly not going to make the playoffs, but they've been much better. Caledon has won a couple of games. Mississauga won twice the number of games they won over the whole of last season.
Last year, yeah.
And a great team to watch. They've got some terrific skaters on that team, a lot of really good young prospects. And the problem is that they can score a lot, but they also have a problem that they can't keep too many out of the net. But they're a great team to watch. No, but overall, the parity is strong. The Patriots got off to a fast start this year. They're starting to falter a little bit. They have a young team. They're going to be up there. People thought Milton might be higher. They're struggling a little bit, but they've started to come back in the last 2 or 3 games. Georgetown's been on a great run, and that's just the West. Before you even look at the East with Wellington and Halliburton, Stouffville, they're all bunched so close together. And we can sit here a couple of weeks from now and look at the standings and say, boy, that team was in 4th last week and now the 7th. And then it could reverse itself the next couple of weeks. So 12 weeks have gone by, and January the 10th is 46 days away, 45 days away. So it's going to be fun for the rest of the way, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I remember the days before the league contracted and when there were so many teams in the league, and there were really, there were a couple of very powerful teams, it felt like, and then there was everybody else back in the day. And the balance today is so much better in the league than what it was back in the day. I feel like in those, maybe even like the mid to late, early 2000s. It's been great to watch just how competitive things actually are between all these teams. But Ron, I'm going to let you get back to your birds. If there's any watching going on right now, I'm not sure, but
it's a little bit late. All the colorful migrants have gone back, Alex, to warmer climes.
Warmer climes, a few months to go, and they'll be back, though, my friends. So,
yeah.
Listen, thanks for taking the time, Ron, and we'll do this. We'll do this maybe once before Christmas as well. Maybe I'll have you and Alan on, and we can do sort of a, before we get to the holiday season, sort of a synopsis of what's gone down so far, surprises, top players, top teams, all that good stuff. So thanks for taking the time.
It's interesting you should say that, because Alan and I, Burlington was playing at home to Georgetown last week, and we kind of got together informally between the second and third periods and had a little chat about a lot of the things that we're talking about right now. And we kind of got everything all settled away, so we know exactly what's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see if we get together again, if these things do actually come to fruition or not.
We got probably about 3 weeks to go worth of that before the break starts. So we'll make it happen, my friend. Thanks for taking the time, Ron.
Super. Thanks a lot, Alex, and great job as usual.
Thanks, buddy. And that is it for today's show. A huge thank you to Derek Smith and Taeo Artichuk of Trenton, and OJHL feature writer Ron Vanlentine for joining me today. And thank you for tuning into the show. Hopefully you're enjoying this so far. It's our 6th episode now. Yeah, 6th. And I'm having a blast doing it. Let us know what you think in the comments. And also if there's a topic that maybe you'd like us to cover. And remember, you can stay up to date with everything that's going on in the league by checking out its social media outlets. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next week.